Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So it's been a while since I showed my 300 Any Love. So on this episode here, we're taking a look at my 300 SRT at 78,000 miles. Let's hop in it and take it out for a spin. Alright guys, so we're driving the 300 here at, I may have been wrong, it's 77,000 miles, not 78. So I haven't driven this car in a while here. Of course, I bought it at about 72,000 miles. Right now I have about 77,000 miles. So in the almost a year and a half that I've had it, I put on about 5,000 miles on the machine. So, getting back into the 300 here, of course there are no cooled seats, but we do have nice cold AC. But this car is just such a beast of a vehicle to drive, and at 4,100 pounds, it really is a beast. But now that I'm watching more and more car reviews and seeing more and more cars, I'm coming to realize that these older SRT products actually aren't that heavy compared to some of the new cars. The new AMG GT that just came out from Mercedes is like 4,800 pounds. So a lot of these sports cars now are getting heavier and heavier, and now what this used to be heavy back in the day at 4,200 pounds, just like my Challenger, are now lightweights in comparison now to some of these newer Mercedes and even Cadillac products, GM products, Audi, Porsche, stuff like that. But over 78,000 miles here, looking back at the history of this vehicle, there hasn't been any major issues with it, just tire changes. I did have to put new brake pads here on the vehicle for the rears, and got those, or the fronts, my bad, and got those done. Although over 78,000 miles, this has a stiffer brake feeling than my Challenger does. It's a little bit harder to modulate the brakes here with this vehicle, but they are still very responsive. We got 6 piston Brembos up front, 4 piston in the rear. I believe they're not as big as the SRT products of today, but they were big back in the day, about 14.3 inches up front, so they are still massive dinner plates. And you need that for this large of a vehicle to slow down, but I'm just really surprised at how lively everything is over 78,000 miles, or 77,000 miles here. My bad, I keep saying 78. For whatever reason, 78 is on my mind, and that may be because I'm looking at the temperature gauge right now. So the steering is tight, the suspension is really good. It doesn't feel like anything is tired on this. None of the bushings, anything like that. The turn-in is pretty direct on this vehicle here. And realize this is a muscle car, this isn't a sports car. But taking this corner here as we throw it into manual shift. Take it with some gusto. Oh gosh. Oh, there's a fellow 300 right there. Man, I'm telling you, this thing is so fun to drive. For being just such a big beast of a vehicle here, all it really needs on it is an exhaust, and this thing would be perfect. But overall driving characteristics here, everything is good. I don't have a lot of modifications on my cars. I don't do that besides the typical cold air exhaust, or cold air intake and exhaust modifications here, and this only has the cold air intake and then this Diablo Sport tuner. But here we go. Holy smokes, 3/4 throttle, and we're doing illegal speeds, allegedly. Oh my goodness, this thing is just so fun to drive. Oh man, they just don't make cars like these anymore. I'm so glad to be able to own one of these vehicles. It really is a blast to drive. We have a pretty large truck in front of us now that we're going to be able to pass with some gusto. Oh, he pulled over for us. Oh, crap. Woo! This thing kicks you in the ass with that transmission. The one thing lacking on this vehicle is the transmission, but it's really held up well. And I don't beat on my cars too much, but this you can beat on as long as you take care of it and have some real fun with it. Oh my goodness. Oh, this is a hammer. This is a real hammer. This is very similar in my experiences to AMGs of this era. Just a hammer of a vehicle. It drives you right home. Oh my goodness. The intake noise on this is just fantastic. But moving on to the interior here, all of my vehicles are garage kept at least some point in their life. They may not be garage kept every single night, but this vehicle, I would say for 99% of the time it's with me, it is garage kept. And yeah, there are some sort of warpings here on the interior driver's side door, but really that's only noticeable to me and not to anybody else. Otherwise, everything else in the vehicle looks really good. As I'm looking around here, the plastics have held up nice. There's really no rattles. Maybe with the occasional sunroof rattle here. Otherwise, I'm very impressed at how clean the interior is and how nice the crappy plastics of this era have stayed. There's really no staining going on. The audio system is still fantastic. All the buttons work here. There are some fuses where my driver's heated seat is that doesn't work. The heated seat works, just the little lighting here doesn't work. But otherwise, everything else in here works fine. And it's really, this is honestly, at 77,000 miles, one of the cleanest vehicles I actually own out of the four that I own, and then the Durango RT Tongo that my parents have, and my girlfriend's AMG GLE. This is actually one of the cleanest vehicles from bottom to top that I currently own. I think it is the cleanest. No rust. The carpets are perfectly clean. The owners before me were very OCD. Had most of the records, at least from the previous owner here, and it's just a blast of a vehicle to drive, and really a blast of a vehicle to look at too. It just really just sends you home. It's a big FU to all the new cars out today, and I like that. I appreciate that. Goodness, this has you doing illegal speeds very, very fast, and I have to say that is quite a fun time. My goodness, this thing is a steroid pumping machine. A steroid pumping machine. Oh my gosh. The throttle response in manual mode is so good. It's almost like a VTEC sensation when you get it up above 4,000 RPMs. It's really quite a good sensation for the driver. And it's just a real blast to drive. Now, the one thing that is missing from this is any sort of sport mode. So if you don't have this in the automatic shift mode or the slap shift mode, then it's really slow. You really have to essentially push the pedal to the floor in order to get any sort of response out of this vehicle. And that's one thing that this vehicle lacked, is the transmission, which everything else about it is great. But the transmission on this is just not, yeah, it may be good, but it is not good for today's standards, of course. But all that can be taken care of if you put it in the manual shift mode, which is kind of nice that they optioned this back in 2007, really in 2005 when the car came out. But it's really been a great car for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed this as a weekend cruiser. Would I daily drive this? No. Gas mileage is not very good with this vehicle, especially when you have that's in stock form 425 miles or 425 horsepower. But with the intake and the little tune that I have on this car, it's pushing more, and it just makes it that much more fun to drive. And if you can connect with this, you can really put some good mid 4 seconds 0 to 60 times up. But let's take one more corner here, one more little straight line acceleration, and then we're going to take a look at the exterior of this monster, the sleeper in disguise. Brakes are good, a little on the firm side here, really have to press on them. Get it in first gear here. Oh my goodness, this is just a blast to drive, guys. All right. We'll take a look at the exterior now. Enough driving. So as we took a look at the exterior here, how it's held up, I have to apologize just from driving this. I haven't washed it in a little bit, so I have some bug spots on the front. But I do have a custom grille on here as well, which looks really mean and really menacing here, especially from down low. Just gives it that really good sinister look that a 300 should have. It just has that brawler mentality to it. But rims here have held up very nice. There is some curb rash on it, and I did have to take off some of the red paint on the calipers here because I wanted that gray Brembo logo showing, or that black Brembo logo showing. I did have to replace these badges here on the 300 as somebody put some 6.1 liter Hemis badge right here instead of these 300Cs, so I replaced that. Otherwise, even looking at, you know, the mirror, there are some bug spots here, but even looking at like the mirror and the paint, I did have to do a correction too because there was some marring of the paint. But right now in the direct sun, you really can't see any of that marring anymore, so I did a good job with the paint correction. There is one spot on here where some pine pitch must have got on the paint and damaged it, but I tried to get that out the best that I could, and it really shouldn't be a problem. But the paint is looking just excellent after 17 years of use. 17 years. The paint looks like it's brand new, and that's a testament here to Chrysler and their paint, and actually how nice their clear coat is on here as long as you take care of it. Like I said, I did have to replace the rear tires on it at 77,000 miles with some Firestone Indy 500s, and I actually have to say I like those a lot. These are probably some of my more favorite summer performance tires for the money that I have purchased. But yeah, everything looks good back here. The venting, like I said, the Bilstein dampers and shocks have held up great. The rear of the car looks fantastic. Even the underneath looks very, very clear. Not much rust, as there should not be much rust on here. Of course, this has stock SRT exhaust, which is a little quiet for my liking, but it kind of fits the mantra of the 300 being the quiet brawler, if you will, the muscular quiet brawler at the bar that you don't want to mess with. But yeah, everything is looking great on it. There really isn't too many rock chips here on the front. If there is, I try to, fix some of those spots here. Otherwise, this car's been babied. There's a few right there, but otherwise, this car's been babied. And even the headlights here have stood the test of time and haven't fogged up whatsoever. Now, you could tell here this bumper is getting a little tired, and that may be a little bit of a build quality issue here from Chrysler, as those panel gaps are getting a little bit bigger. But otherwise, it's holding up quite well for 17 years of use. I'm very, very impressed with it. And the engine bay, if I take a look at that here, and let me just show you the interior here quick. The interior looks brand new. Not a lot of people have sat in that rear seat. And even the interior here, I have some of my stuff in the passenger seat, but the driver's seat looks great. You know, it looks like normal wear pattern here. This is the days when leather was actually leather. Has that nice Alcantara suede here, but the leather was actually leather. It wasn't faux leather. So this leather seems to hold up really, really, really nicely. Steering wheel looks good as well. And let's just pop, even like I said, even the carpet, you know, this is just from me getting in now, but even the carpet looks brand spanking new. It looks better than my 2019 Ram truck that I have, and I keep that just pristine, spotless. Like I said, the carpet looks brand spanking new. It's insane how nice these cars can hold up if you you know, just simply take care of them. So finally here, taking a look at the engine bay. Of course, this is polished and everything, but it looks really nice. They don't make engine like these anymore. These intakes are freaking awesome on these 6.1s here. I love it. I love the way this engine looks. You can see the Hemi orange down below. This is really a last of its time engine here. I do have to clean out the air filter a little bit, but otherwise this is looking very, very, very nice. As a male, this gets your testosterone pumping and makes you excited to wake up in the morning and enjoy life. Oh my goodness. Oop, can't even close it. The hood struts, that's how good the hood struts work. 17 years, hood struts are great. So, all right guys, 77,000 miles on my 300. I haven't been giving this too much love lately as I haven't been driving it. So there you have it. That's my review of my 300. I love it. I plan on keeping it. And it has been one of my most favorite cars of all time to drive.